Michelle thought she had the upper hand, but just 45 seconds later, Kennedy's icy comeback left her speechless, and America couldn't believe it. On a crisp autumn evening, the bright lights of a live television studio illuminated a packed stage, where political heavyweights and public figures had gathered for what was billed as a civil discourse on pressing national issues. The audience, a mix of political enthusiasts, journalists, and curious onlookers, buzzed with anticipation, their murmurs filling the air like static before a storm. Cameras swept across the room, capturing every angle of the sleek, modern set, its polished surfaces reflecting the tension that simmered beneath the surface of the event. At the center of it all sat Michelle Obama, the former First Lady, radiating poise and authority, her presence commanding respect. Opposite her was Senator John Kennedy, the Louisiana Republican, known for his folksy charm and razor-sharp wit, his eyes glinting with a quiet confidence. The debate had been intense but measured, with each participant trading carefully worded arguments on policy and vision for the country. Michelle Obama, articulate and passionate, had just finished a powerful point about unity and leadership when the discussion took an unexpected turn. A question from the moderator about political accountability seemed to strike a nerve. The room grew quieter as Michelle leaned forward, her expression hardening, her voice steady but laced with an unmistakable edge. In a moment that would be replayed countless times in the days to come, she turned her gaze directly on Senator Kennedy and in a tone that brooked no argument, demanded that he leave the stage. The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. "Senator Kennedy," she said, her voice clear and unwavering, "your rhetoric has divided us long enough. For the sake of this conversation, I think it's time you step aside." The audience froze, their collective breath held as if the room itself had stopped breathing. The cameras zoomed in, capturing every micro-expression. Michelle's steely resolve, the stunned faces of the other panelists, and the eerie silence that blanketed the studio. All eyes turned to Kennedy, whose weathered face betrayed no immediate reaction. The tension was palpable, thick enough to choke on, as if the air itself had solidified around the stage. For a fleeting moment, it seemed as though Michelle Obama had seized control of the narrative, her demand a bold move to assert dominance in a room full of powerful voices. The audience waited, hearts pounding, for Kennedy's response. Would he comply, slinking off the stage in defeat? Would he fire back with indignation? The seconds stretched into eternity, each tick of the clock amplifying the drama. Then in less than a minute, Senator Kennedy leaned forward in his chair, his movements deliberate, almost theatrical. His voice when he spoke was calm, but carried a biting precision that sliced through the room like a well-aimed arrow. "Mrs. Obama," he began, his southern drawl slow and deliberate, "I've sat here and listened to your words, and I've respected your right to say them. But if you think you can dismiss me or anyone else with a wave of your hand, you've misread the room, and you've misread the American people." His words were not loud, but they carried a weight that landed like a sledgehammer. The crowd stirred, a ripple of gasps and whispers breaking the silence. Kennedy's response was not just a defense, it was a masterclass in redirection. He didn't raise his voice or resort to theatrics. Instead, he turned the tables with a calculated calm that exposed the audacity of Michelle's demand. "This stage," he continued, his eyes locked on hers, "is for ideas, not ultimatums. If you want me to leave, you'll need a better reason than trying to silence someone you don't agree with." The words cut deep, their sharpness amplified by his measured delivery. Michelle's face, caught in the unforgiving glare of the studio lights, flickered with a mix of surprise and frustration. For the first time that evening, she seemed momentarily off balance, her commanding presence shaken by the senator's unflinching retort. The audience, which had been paralyzed by the initial shock, erupted into a cacophony of reactions. Whispers turned to murmurs, then to audible gasps and scattered applause. Some panelists shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while others exchanged glances, unsure whether to intervene or let the moment play out. The moderator, caught off guard, scrambled to regain control, but the damage was done. The power dynamic in the room had shifted irrevocably. Kennedy, far from being diminished, had emerged as a formidable force, his refusal to back down transforming him from a participant into a central figure in the unfolding drama. What happened next was a spectacle that transcended the studio walls. As the cameras continued to roll, capturing every nuance of the